Hello friends, welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to read a book named Sky Horses, The Whispering Tree, written by Linda Chapman. It was midnight. The wind swept through the trees outside the large house of a cliff top. Branches of a tree brushed against the window of the study, like bony fingers scraping at the glass. A woman with long blonde hair, Marianne, was sitting at the desk inside the study. Ignoring the sound, she stared at the grey stone in her hands. It had a single round hole through its center. "Two gateways," she murmured. "One hidden." She passed a hand over the stone. The hair in the room seemed to shiver slightly. Marianne leaned forward, seeing a picture forming in the center of the stone. The picture grew bigger, a cliff with trees at the top. The cliff face was steep, covered in the grass, with gashes of bare soil. At the bottom of the cliff were jagged rocks that were covered with damp seaweed. Water glittered in the pool between them. A person came into the vision. A slim teenage girl, a younger version of Marianne, came scrambling down the cliff. She was wearing a long brown skirt, a shawl, and old-fashioned boots, and her blonde hair was blowing around her face. She paused as she came to the ledge of rock jutting out near the base of the cliffs. "A gateway lost in memory," Marianne whispered. Another girl appeared in the vision. Marianne's eyes hardened. The second girl had the same honey blonde hair and blue eyes, but her face was more heart-shaped. She looked about a year older and very determined. As she came down the cliff, she started arguing, angry with the girl at the bottom who just laughed, tossed her hair back, and clambered over the ledge before disappearing beneath it. Marianne chuckled to herself. Yes, it was eaten well then, still is now. But enough for the past. Let me see the present. She closed her fingers over the hole in the stone, and the picture disappeared. "Reveal the sky stallion," she whispered. She opened her fingers, and a new vision formed, revealing a snow-white stallion and a grey colt standing in a clearing in the woods next to two girls. The moon shone down on them. The foal had a fluffy mane and a mischievous expression. The stallion's mane and tail swept to the floor. His dark eyes were wise, his head noble. There was something almost otherworldly about both horses. The lines of their bodies seemed hazy, as if a fine mist surrounded them. One of the girls had dark brown curls, laughing hazel eyes, and skin the color of milk chocolate, but Marianne barely even glanced at her. Her attention was fixed on the tall, slim girl with long, dark blonde hair and a heart-shaped face. She was holding a stone with a hole in the center. "I'm sure you think you can stop me just like she did." As Marianne spoke, the blonde girl broke off from talking and glanced around uneasily. Her fingers tightened on a stone in her own hand, and Marianne's vision vanished. "But not this time," Marianne hissed. "Nothing will stop me this time." "Wakey, wakey!" Erin heard a voice and felt something tickling her nose. Still half asleep, she brushed it away. "Erin!" Erin opened her eyes. Chloe was leaning over her, stroking her nose with the tail of a cuddly toy horse. Erin giggled. "Stop it," she said, pushing her away. "I thought you were never going to wake up," Chloe complained. "I have been up for ages." Erin yawned. After a long time after she and Chloe had got back from the woods, she hadn't been able to sleep and had lain in bed thinking about Thor, the magnificent sky stallion they had been talking to that evening. It was very weird to think that just a few weeks ago she would had no idea that sky horses existed, and now she and Chloe were trying to help one of them. Sky horses lived in the clouds. Their moods and movements changed the weather. When the sky horses were quiet and peaceful, the weather was calm. When they were agitated, the wind and the rain blew, and when they fought, there were storms. Tor was the leader of the sky horses along the Dorset coastline. He and his young son, Mistral, had been captured by a dog spirit called Marian. The girls were trying to help the horses get back to the kingdom in the clouds, but it wasn't proving to be easy. Erin rubbed her tired eyes and lay back down. "Oh no, you're not going back to the sleep again," Chloe declared, yanking the duvet off Erin's bed. "If you go back to sleep, we will be getting late to the stables this morning." "Of course," Erin realized. "We are going riding today." The thought of going to the Hawthorne stable acted like a magic spell, instantly sweeping her tiredness away. She jumped straight up and quickly started emptying out her rucksack, looking for her Joth purse. "What are you waiting for?" she teased, glancing at Chloe's surprised face. "Do you have to be so slow?" Chloe grinned and threw the cuddling horse at her. "It took me ages to get to sleep last night," Erin admitted as they both started to get dressed. "I kept thinking about the Tor and then about Marianne. Don't you think it's weird that we haven't seen her since we freed Mistral? It's almost 2 weeks now." "I know," agreed Chloe. "I had a thought she would have been trying to do something to us, capture Mistral again or something, but it's like she's vanished." Erin hesitated. "A few times this week, I have had this kind of prickling feeling, as if someone's watching me. I felt it again last night. I think she must be spying on us with magic." "Why didn't you say something to Tor?" asked Chloe, looking alarmed. Erin shrugged. "I wasn't sure about it. It was only when we got back that I kept remembering it. You would be better tell Tor tonight. I hope it is not Marianne." Chloe shivered. "And I wish we knew why she's being so quiet." Erin's eyes met hers. "It feels like she's waiting for something." "Chloe! Erin!" Chloe's mom called up the stairs, interrupting the girls' worried silence. "Time for breakfast!" Chloe went to the door. "Coming, Mom!" She turned to Erin and spoke quickly. "Look, we would better not talk about it now. We don't want Mom and Dad to hear." Erin nodded. Chloe was right. No one was supposed to know about Tor or the magic. "Okay, later." "Later," Chloe agreed. The two girls started talking loudly about the ponies at the riding school as they quickly finished getting dressed. Packing her night dress away, Erin thought how lucky she was to have Chloe to share everything with. It felt like they had known each other forever. In fact, they had first met just under a month ago, on the day Erin had discovered that there were sky horses and that she was a stardust spirit, a special kind of person who could fly and do magic at night time. Stardust spirits were supposed to use the magic to look after nature. Chloe was a stardust spirit too. She would turn into one for the first time just a few days before Erin. They would agree to start meeting up and had been best friends ever since. They were both pony mad and longed for their own ponies. Chloe, who had just moved into the area, had started going to Hawthorne stables like Erin, which meant that they got to hang out together at weekends, in school holidays, and on the days after school, when they persuaded the parents to let them go to the stables to help. When the girls were dressed, they hurried downstairs. Chloe's mom and dad were in the kitchen drinking coffee and reading the papers. "Morning, you two," said Chloe's dad Mike with a cheerful smile. Erin could never get over how calm and quiet Chloe's house was. She had 3 older stepbrothers, and breakfast at her home was always very noisy. She usually just tried to read a book and ignored them all. "So, what are you going to be doing today at stables?" asked Nikki, Chloe's mom. "We are going on a beach ride," replied Erin. Nikki had ridden lots herself when she was growing up, and she loved talking about horses and riding. "And let me guess, you'll be hoping you ride Crystal," said Nikki. Erin grinned and nodded. Crystal was a new pony at the stables, but already he was her favorite. He was a part Arab grey and very lively. For a while, Erin had been scared of riding him, but now she loved him. She always tried to be the one to catch him and groom him if she could. Secretly in her own head, she didn't even tell Chloe this. She sometimes pretended that he was her very own pony. "I bet you will get to ride him," said Chloe. "You nearly always do. It's almost like he is yours." She sighed and looked at her dad. "I so need a pony of my own, Dad." Her dad raised his eyebrows. "You need one, do you?" "Yes, you could get me one for my birthday on Tuesday," said Chloe, hopefully. She ran round to him and knelt down beside him, holding her hands up as if she was praying. "Please, please, 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 please." Her dad leant over and tickled her. She squealed and jumped up. Erin smiled. She kept asking her dad and stepmom Joe for a pony too. "Come on, you two, let's get some breakfast inside you," said Nikki. "Then we would better get going. You don't want to be late for your beach ride." As soon as they arrived at the stables, they went to the office to find out which ponies they were going to be riding that day. Erin's heart leapt as she saw she was going to be riding Crystal, just as she had hoped. "Yay!" said Chloe happily. "I have got Misty." The grey Wills mountain pony was one of her favorites. Just then, Fran and Katie, 2 of the other helpers, came in. Erin had once been best friends with them, but they had been really mean ever since they discovered she was going to be a different secondary school from them in September. "We have got Pippin and Tango," said Katie, checking the board. Franz nodded. "No surprise who's got Crystal, is it?" She swung around, hands on hips. "You always get to ride him, Erin. Everyone knows it just because you are Jackie's little pet." Erin swallowed. She hated people being mean to her. Chloe scowled at Fran and opened her mouth to make a sharp retort. But just then the door opened and Jackie, the teacher, came in. "Hi girls," she said cheerfully. "Have you all seen which ponies you are riding on the beach?" They nodded, Fran looking as if butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. She was very good at putting on an act around grown-ups. "Right then, off you go and catch them," said Jackie. "We will head off at 11. The 4 girls left the office. Kestrel was in a different field from the other ponies. As Erin reached the gate, she called his name. He lifted his head from the grass and whinnied. His ears pricked. She felt in her pocket for a polo. "Come on, boy. Here, Crystal." Crystal came trotting up the field towards her. He was a dapple grey with a long mane, huge dark eyes, and ears that almost seemed to touch at the tips. He reached her and crunched the sweet happily while she clipped on his lead rope. Erin rubbed his forehead. He reminded her a bit of Thor, but whereas Thor was a majestic stallion, whom she sometimes felt a bit shy about patting, Kestrel loved hugs and cuddles, and she never felt shy about patting him. She led him back to the yacht and tied him up before she and Chloe set about to ride off the mud and grass stains on the two ponies' grey coats. As Erin groomed his shoulder and back, Kestrel turned his head and rested his muzzle on her shoulder. Jackie walked over. He really seems to have taken to you, Erin. I'm a bit worried about how he's settling in at the moment though. He's lost weight since he got here. I'm not sure he cut out to be riding school pony. She looked thoughtful. I have noticed you have been here a lot more in the evenings, after school, in the last few weeks. Yes, now my SATs are over. My dad says it's fine for me to come down here whenever I am free, Erin explained. Well, how would you feel about taking more responsibility for looking after Kestrel? Grooming him, feeding him, riding him whenever you are here. Just for a short while. I wonder if having one regular person who looks after him for a bit might calm him down. Erin stared at Jackie, almost too stunned to speak. Really? That would be brilliant. Jackie smiled. Good. I will speak to your parents and check they are all right with it. But I do think it might help Kestrel to have one carer for a while whom he can bond with. She sighed. If he doesn't settle in soon, I might have to consider selling him. I'm sure he will be fine. I will help him settle in better, said Erin quickly. Thank you, said Jackie smiling, and she walked away. Erin swung around to Chloe. Can you believe it? She gasped. I'm going to be looking after Kestrel. It'll be almost like he's my very own pony. It'll be just... Yeah, it'll be great for you, Chloe interrupted abruptly and walked away. Erin stared after her. How could she have been so stupid? She would be so caught up in her own excitement that she would have forgotten to think about Chloe's feeling. She asked herself how she would have felt if it had been the other way round and Jackie had been asking Chloe to look after one of the ponies as if it was her own. She knew immediately that she would have felt horribly jealous. No wonder Chloe had walked away. Throwing down her Danube brush, she ran after Chloe. She caught up with her at the field gate. Chloe's back was to her. Chloe, I'm sorry, Erin stammered. I'm really sorry, she said again helplessly, not knowing what else to say. Chloe hesitated and then her shoulders sagged. Oh, it's okay, she said, turning round. You shouldn't have snapped. Only I would love it if Jackie asked me to look after a pony. She took a deep breath and lifted her chin. But that's really good, Erin. I'm really pleased for you. So we are still friends then? Asked Erin anxiously. Chloe grinned, suddenly looking much more like her normal self. Best friends, come on, she said, linking arms with Erin. Let's go and finish grooming. Erin walked back up the yacht, joy surging through her. She was going to be looking after Kestrel and she had the best friend in the world. She glanced up and tried to ignore the storm clouds that were beginning to creep across the sky. Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this story. This to be continued. The second chapter is on your way. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe this channel. Please click the bell icon for more stories.